If you're like me, you hate cleaning up, but it's a $40 billion a year industry, and it's surprisingly simple to start a cleaning business wherever you're located. Now, whether you're servicing Airbnbs, homes, or businesses, I'm going to go over the pros and cons of starting a cleaning business and how you can quit your job and start a business today. And I'll also give you my opinions on things. Let's go. So let's go over the 3 steps to start it.
Achoo!
Oh, sorry, I had to sneeze. Let's go over the 3 steps to start a cleaning business. Now, the first step is you got to figure out your market. So you got to figure out whether you want to service homes, like apartments, condos, people's houses, or if you want to service Airbnbs, which is almost like its own little market because of all the cleaning fees involved in Airbnb. It's like part of getting an Airbnb now is paying a cleaning fee. Stupid. Or businesses. Okay, and businesses obviously pay more, right? And the way you should determine the first step is who you're good at talking with. Now, if you're like scared of guys in suits or something, like don't go after businesses, right? Now, the second step is you got to get cleaning supplies. Now, the good news for you is that like crazy chemicals that, if you like drop them on your hand, they'll burn through you. Nobody wants that anymore. People want these like non-hazardous chemicals. So it's actually, you can get around with using like probably cheaper stuff nowadays. And then the third step is actually going out there and marketing your business, whether it's, walking around, canvassing, door to door to people, or somehow getting in touch with Airbnb owners or businesses. You got to market yourself somehow. Now, on average, you'll make about 25 to 50 bucks an hour. Now, at my house in Malibu, I hired a cleaning lady. She was like 40 bucks an hour. And she came every week for 6 hours. Okay, so just to give you kind of perspective, I'm like a client of these businesses. Now, Airbnb typical cleaning fee is going to be around $65 to $125. So, you do the math, you can hire people as low as, 10 bucks an hour in California. So you can make the margin on that, right? And if you have multiple people working for you every day, 8 hours a day, well, you multiply that margin by, those hours, and basically you have a 6-figure income running a cleaning business. But what are the pros and cons of this sort of business? Now, I run an internet business and we make over $500,000 a month in my internet business. And frankly, I don't have to touch a thing if I don't want to. So keep in mind, I'm coming from this sort of perspective. I've been running my own businesses since 2008. So let's go over the pros and cons of running a cleaning business. Now, to give you perspective, I'm an internet entrepreneur. I've been running my own businesses since 2008. I make over $500,000 a month in my business. And but I love business. I've been studying it for years. Now, the pros of a cleaning business are that you have very low startup costs. I mean, it's really basic stuff, right? If you want to do even deep cleaning of like urine, like pet urine around, people's homes, let's say you specialize in that, right? I just saw some billboards up for deep cleaning pet urine, right? Like that's a whole niche of like getting homeowners, right? That's something, you just go to Home Depot and you rent one of these machines for 50 bucks a day, right? So the startup costs are extremely low. It's cleaning supplies. Go to Target, go to Walmart, right? Probably don't have to spend more than a few $100. Also, you don't need any, there's no sort of certification or anything that you have to do. There's not, it's a low skill job. You can find kind of like, a South American, Central American, Hispanic, like immigrant, a lot of folks, just people who, old grandmas who don't know how to search for jobs on the internet. You find some people and hire them, and you can pay them low amounts of money. So, that's good. But here's the cons, right? The cons is it's not passive, right? Regardless of what you're doing, you're going to have to go out there and actually be selling clients. You're going to go out there and, you're going to have to either pay for advertising or pay for marketing, or you're going to have to go around and, knock on doors. Of course, I mean, why couldn't there be just a magic button that makes money, right? Everybody's been searching for that on the internet since the internet came. Where's the internet magic button, magic money button, but there's no magic money button. Even I sell training courses, I have a mentorship program, and I'll even say there's no magic money button that's just like, oh, this is a software tool that just makes you money and gets you customers, right? But it especially goes for cleaning business. You got to get out there. You got to actually talk to business owners. You got to make calls. You got to, or you got to pay for ads, and you got to test that stuff. The other con is that, it's difficult to scale is the reality. Now, difficult to scale because to get more clients, you need more people. You need to manage schedules of all these cleaning people. You need to get them out to jobs, all this sort of stuff, right? There's a lot of logistics. And one thing I hate is logistics, handling logistics with people. I'm horrible at handling logistics. It's one of the reasons why I run a business which I can literally wake up any time and do, because the internet doesn't sleep. And the work I do on the internet is considered asynchronous, meaning I can work anytime I want. Whereas a cleaning business, you have to you can't, if you're having a hard time sleeping at 3 a.m, you can't just work on your cleaning business, right? The other con here is an interesting one. Now, this mainly applies to folks that are starting a business in the United States, as far as I know. But it's this word called liability. Liability, if you live in America, you see these posters or billboards all around, advertisements on the radio, all sorts of stuff for lawyers saying, did you get in an accident? Have you been injured? Are you, are you, somebody, you have a problem with anything in life. And the lawyers are pretty good at winning, right? Now, the issue is you could lose everything, if one of your workers slips, and falls. One of your cleaning ladies falls, and you have to have what's called workers' compensation insurance. Because if she falls and calls one of these lawyer billboards and sues you for, work negligence or something like that, you're done, you're done. Like, it's as fast as that, you are in a lawsuit and good possibilities she'll win, or your insurance rates will go up to thousands a month. It's insane. The other side of the liability is the homeowners, so you have to worry about if your workers, these are low paid folks that you're paying $10 an hour to. Well, if you're doing it yourself, you're fine. But if you're using workers, what if they nick something? What if they steal something, Let's say there's a computer lying around or something, and one of your workers goes off, is having a bad day, and just decides to steal some electronic equipment from your client and never show up for work again. What do you do with that? How do you deal with the homeowner? What if they sue you in a small claims court? So again, that's taking your time and effort and money and all that sort of stuff. So I don't like any of these things, And frankly, it's difficult to scale because you're dealing with so many people. But all that aside, my personal opinions aside, the fact is a cleaning business works. And check out these social media posts of folks that are actually doing it and making good money with their own home cleaning, their cleaning business.
When I graduated college, I ended up starting a window cleaning business with my partner Sergio. We ended up getting this business to about $65,000 per month and running it completely remotely using contractors instead of W-2 employees. You're going to be paying your contractors a 50-50 split, right? So if they go do a cleaning job for $300, they're going to make $150, you're going to make $150. And you want to make sure, this is kind of the golden nugget to this business and how you attract good talent, which we'll talk about here in a sec. You want to pay your contractors well. So between $25 to $35 an hour, meaning that's what the contractors are making, which means you as the business owner needs to be charging at least $50 to $70 an hour. So you want to find quality independent contractors and cleaners you can trust to actually go to your customer's home. Like I said earlier, because you're paying cleaners well, you can actually attract a ton of good talent into your business, because who doesn't like to get paid more for doing the same job? You would be surprised at the number of cleaners that have W-2 jobs working at cleaning companies that are making $15, $16, $17, $18 an hour.
Pretty freaking amazing, right? I mean, the reality is there's money out there, and everything aside from running a cleaning business, if you're not afraid to get a little dirty, you can make money doing it. And look, I don't care what you're doing. It's about having freedom, location freedom, time freedom, and financial freedom. And a job isn't going to get you there, so anything you can do to create your own business and move towards that direction. If it's a cleaning business, go in and do it. Whatever it is, go out and do it. If you are, be self-motivated, be resourceful, conquer the world. Let's colonize space. Let's be limitless. Have tons of kids, make tons of money, have multiple houses. This is our destiny. This is what we should do. So if you enjoyed this video and if you got some information out of it, whether or not you decide to do a cleaning business, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I'm John Crestani. Make sure you like the video and post a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. Are you going to start a cleaning business? Why or why not? Or are you not going to start a cleaning business? Why or why not? I'd love to hear from you, and I'll see you in the next video. This is John Crestani, standing for freedom and family. Let's freaking go. See ya.